Oh, did I do broadcast? I guess I'm live. Am I live? Sorry. Bunch of other things happened all at once. I don't have multiple things going, and I see a little thing that says end broadcast. Apologies for that. So here's the deal. We're on day 6. Hi, I'm Christine. Hey, Melissa. Um, so it is working. I've been having major tech issues. My really nice um, Bluetooth microphone earbud things are not connecting with this browser or any browser for that matter. So I guess it's some kind of glitch. And I seem to be, I'm getting very strong migraine symptoms. And so I could be heading into it. I'm hoping that I can somehow solve and resolve it before I start vomiting and crying in pain, but we'll see. So it's interesting um, having a meditation practice when there's such physical discomfort. And that's what I've been for the last 6 days. That's part of what I've been sitting with all along. And today it's really strong. It's really strong. And so, what's it like sitting with intense or even uh, not so intense, uh, but intense or impossible to ignore physical discomfort. In the Buddhist communities, we call that dukkha. Well, do we? No, we call the response to pain is suffering. Suffering is dukkha. The pain itself is merely sensation and experience. And so, for the most part, that's what I sat with. Granted, it was there's household stuff happening, and it was not possible to take a bath or a shower last night because of some renovations that are happening, and so partly, I mean, that's part of the reason. So I did quite a bit of some deeper energetic cleaning this morning, and my energy is it's not a mess. But there's some major energy medicine surgery happening, and perhaps they just need me to sleep today. Um, so if you've ever had intense physical discomfort, what do you do with your meditation practice? Unless that's part of your intention to be able to sit with discomfort or intense sensation in some way, then you maybe aren't accustoming yourself to that kind of experience. And it arises at times. So, do you avoid your experience or do you be with it? It it depends. Mm, Uh, for me, I'm out of water. I feel like I need more water. For me, my commitment has been an hour or more a day. And I've been true to that. There's one day it was kind of slidey because there was so much energy work involved, and I've been making a clear line of distinction between moving into a meditative trance like state, doing self energy work, and a formal sitting practice, formal meditation practice. And so I could have slid that day. But truth be told, with every sit I've had, there's some aspect of energy work that occurs, whether I'm observer receiver of it or whether I am, you know, you can watch the sensations of a sneeze arise and pass, and I have, and I do. Um, or you can let yourself sneeze, or you can let your foot fall asleep if it's falling asleep, or you can mindfully shift your body so it doesn't fall asleep. So it's my same approach with energy work when an opportunity arises this week, anyway, these days, anyway, when an opportunity arises during a sit, uh, and it seems like it might lead to greater peace and ease, I go for it and I do it. So, I started with some energy work pretty early this morning, and there's big stuff, like I said. I won't go into the gory details, but uh, um, surgery, energy medicine surgery on my brain and nervous system. No surprise, really, since some of my intentions is to get my right and left hemispheres more communicative and a little bit more cleaned up. Plus, all the energies that are happening they're not quite solar flares, but they're magnetic and energetic resonances that are happening on a galactic level and blasting our planet. So apparently, I've been historically sensitive to that. And so that may be true for today. I don't know. I haven't checked that. And the big switch, we're moving into a full moon. We're coming at the tail end of Mercury retrograde with a lot of Venus Saturn conversations, Venus Saturn Mars conversations happening with this Mercury retrograde. So there's an intensity for sure. And I have had body work this week, so I don't feel any particular stiffness causing it, but I can feel a kind of stiffness arising around the intensity of sensation. So let's get back to what I was saying. What do you do when that's arising? You have a choice, depending on the intensity level of the sensation, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, that's arising. You can choose to do a some kind times called trigger practice, where you lean into an intensity, um, and it's a challenge for your equanimity, for your capacity of heart to hold that experience, and calm mind, equanimous mind to hold that experience. And it's a strong determination sit. Usually, strong determination sits apply to length of time, as opposed to the arisings within a shorter period of time that are arising with a particular intensity to them. So, with pain itself, there's a whole layer on top of that that causes suffering. And so, if you are not in scrambled egg brain mindset with the sensations, you may simply with intention and breath decide to release with guides, if you're working with guides or your guardian angel or whatever, or not, and say, may all suffering that is extraneous and not mine, stories included that I may create around this pain arising in this moment, may they all dissipate and dissolve. And then you're just left with, um, I would say 9 times out of 10. Hi, Sheila. We're talking about meditation and sitting with intensity because I'm heading into migraine right now. And so just exploring what that's like. Where's my cursor here? So, um, you know, if you're not scrambled egg brain, which is what I just said, and you have the presence of awareness to set an intention for energy to dissipate, and get assistance with that if you want to, that is extraneous to the immediate arising of pain, the extraneous stuff that's causing the suffering, which is the stories you have about it, the emotional feeds, the other people's energies around it, et cetera, et cetera. And almost automatically, there will be a shift in the sensation, which is true for me historically. So I offer that. That may be true for you. And then it's a choice of how much you lean into it and how much you back away from it. One of my other intentions here is to really clarify my power of concentration, leaning into concentration of peace with the inhale and the sensations of peace that I experience with the inhale breath, particularly around my nose area. And so leaning into this, thusly, that is available until a distraction arises. And then I keep moving into it and I keep moving into it. And frankly, I don't know if you saw what I offered in Instagram yesterday, but I talked about the pinprick of peace, of light within any storm. It could be the eye of the storm. There's always something else. There's never just, but you have to look for it and sometimes. And so what I found at a certain point in today's meditation was that the inhale was this kind of very small event within the vast experience I was having of big pressure and intense pressure and sensation that could lead of pain and other sensation throughout my entire body, particularly my head and nervous system. And so I would lean into that pinprick and just watch. It took a lot of concentration to lean into that and focus and coming back to it again and again and again. And then at another point, I abandoned that, not entirely, but put that aside and just let myself feel some of the story so that I wasn't resisting story, that I wasn't completely pushing it away, but that I was leaning into it. And I allowed the tears to fall. I allowed some of the thoughts and the anxieties to come and go. And there was some future fantasy planning storytelling coming up, and maybe remorse around past and other anxieties and fears. And I just let that have space. And so it became less the physical intensity of pain and more um, sort of a mental emotional intensity that accompanied it. Not the whole thing, but was a part of it. And when it had voice, there were tears, and it just created some more movement. Because if you've ever had a migraine, you know that it feels like very little movement, and if there's movement there, it's this very staticky, intense, kind of frenetic, as if there was electric static in your brain, kind of, but there's a stiffness to it. There's I wouldn't call it stuck, but implacable move, um, refusal uh, to flow. So as I leaned into, I wasn't ready to lean into the physical intensity as yet. Uh, it's actually helpful talking this out, I have to say. But what I was available was to lean into the mental emotional um, uh, accompanying sensations, and the tears fell, and that is what it was. And then it was a sort of dance between leaning into the breath and leaning into that. At another point, I towards the end, I would say the last 20 minutes, leaning into the energy and the physicality of it, and that's when the energy work began. I really just put myself in a pillar of, I called it God, of God, love, light, a pillar of it. and there was this kind of shard-like energy. And for all I know, this could be um, shard-like. It could be my body processing the jab that I got uh, early summer, and perhaps that's feeding into migraines. But energetically, that's what I witnessed. So it was the shamanic version of bringing those shards back into the whole. And pain sensation is what it is. There's a whole movement in science around um, what is pain and what is the brain doing on pain. By the way, I don't know if you know this. Here's me being a smarty pants. The pain, the body, the brain, there are aspects of brain that do not distinguish a difference between emotional pain and physical pain, interestingly enough, that there's a physiology that activates around both. Hopefully, it's endorphins and immune system trying to activate and soothe. As I say that, there's a little bit of a shift, but pain itself is an interesting thing, particularly for me when there's an energetic component, when there is some brain surgery, energetic surgery happening in the brain area. And historically, there's a healing of a pattern of left temple weakness. And so some of that is being healed as well. Mind you, this is all without grounding in water, which is what I do every night. Oh, um, so what else around that is so part of the process of migrating is a kind of tapping out spaciness. This is and a deep emotionality. This is before, if it gets to the point of vomiting, um, you know, then it's going to stick around for a couple days, right? But if I can tap it right beforehand. And so with meditation, just sitting with intensity of pain, it it morphs, quite frankly. You see, for me, I see that it can be like sharpness comes in as a sharpness minus a pain. If it's a dull throb, it simply becomes a movement. They all become movements and objects uh, within my physicality um, that aren't necessarily have a grip around it. The grip around it is where the pain arises for me. To not grip around big, invasive, deeply unpleasant sensation is difficult for a human. It's difficult. And so pain arises, and so we have Tylenol and Aleve, ibuprofen, naproxen, and all the other things that we do. So, yeah, I might go pretty soon. It's starting to get kind of weird, so I just wanted to finally be here. Hopefully, my fancy $300 microphone will start to work again, or something will happen with Google Chrome. Google Chrome is pretty fucked up these days. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but if you use something else, it works fine. Once you move into Chrome, there's a lot of bugs that aren't worked out yet. So hopefully the tech geniuses will figure that out. So all my technology will talk to each other again. Anyway, frustration. So that's my jam. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to try to put something in my body and then rest. I don't know if going to the beach is a good idea, but I just got a text from my sister. So maybe it would be just to be in cold water might be good. Hey Dee, good to see you. So, for those of you that are working with Kelsey Kinsey White in her Embodied Creatrix program, I'll see you in a couple hours, maybe. For those of you that have just completed Body of Design with me, blessings to all of you. I don't know what's going on with that in the next, but we'll find out. Excited to work on that. Okay, I'm gonna go experience my life as a migrating human. Uh, and I may crash and I may not. So thank you, everybody. Practice well, meditate well. Day 6, woohoo. Catch on the flip tomorrow sometime in the morning. Okay. Much love to you all.